Good evening and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. It is, the quality of this video seems worse than normal. Oh well. It is Monday, December 7th. Is that Pearl Harbor Day? I think it is. And it's also the feast day of Saint Ambrose, the Bishop of Milan and Doctor of the Church. And he baptized Saint Augustine, and he had a huge influence on Saint Augustine's conversion, one of the most popular and well-known saints of the Catholic Church. If you don't know anything about Saint Augustine, well, and Saint Ambrose, but Saint Augustine, he has a tremendous conversion story. But anyway, Saint Ambrose, who we celebrate today, he is the patron saint of beekeepers, candle makers, and of learning, in which bees are a symbol of wisdom. Who knew? Today's gospel is from Luke chapter 5, verses 17 through 26. Let's begin in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. One day, as Jesus was teaching, Pharisees and teachers of the law were sitting there who had come from every village of Galilee and Judea and Jerusalem, and the power of the Lord was with him for healing. And some men brought on a stretcher a man who was paralyzed. They were trying to bring him in and set him in his presence. But not finding a way to bring him in because of the crowd, they went up on the roof and lowered him on the stretcher through the tiles into the middle in the front of Jesus. When he saw their faith, he said, "As for you, your sins are forgiven." Then the scribes and Pharisees began to ask themselves, "Who is this who speaks blasphemies? Who but God alone can forgive sins?" Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them in reply, What are you thinking in your hearts? Which is easier to say, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Rise and walk'? But that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." He said to the man who was paralyzed, "I say to you, rise up, pick up your stretcher, and go home." He stood up immediately before them, picked up what he had been lying on, and went home, glorifying God. Then astonishment seized them all, and they glorified God, and, struck with awe, they said, "We have seen incredible things today." Alrighty, this is a great gospel. This is entitled "The Healing of a Paralytic," and we can see here, just how much they want. This man who was paralyzed, wants to, again, he's hopeless. He's been paralyzed. He wants cured. And they keep hearing about this man they call Jesus. And so they go to him. But they're so desperate that they go to him and they have to lower him through a hole in the roof and bring him in from the roof down into the middle of the house. So if you can just envision that. And really the effort that they're taking to pursue Jesus, like what we should. In that allegorical sense, or I guess, but otherwise, notice that. But then the Pharisees who see it are still covered with a whole bunch of skepticism and controversy, and calling Jesus a blasphemer, saying only God is the one who can forgive sins, and so they're just attacking Jesus amongst the miracle that he's working. Which is what happens for all Christians who are attacked by those who don't believe, because it doesn't make sense logically all the time, and it just humanly doesn't make sense, which just shows the weakness of men and how much we need to depend on God. But what we see even through these attacks of Jesus doing such good works and performing miracles, while still getting attacked, he maintains his demeanor. Amongst it, he has this simple maturity and this wisdom and just his composure that he can maintain throughout the whole discourse. And rather than attacking them, he just he questions them. And then the biggest thing I think that really stood out to me is whenever Jesus asks them all this stuff, he asks them very calmly, "What are you thinking in your hearts?" So he's trying to dive in and get to something deeper outside of this surface level exterior life that there's so much attention on. So he's trying to um, have them become reflective and ask them, what is their intention? What's the state of their heart? And just who are they virtually? Um, so that's the challenge for us today, is to spend some time in silence and not just think. Like, don't just think, because our minds are messed up. But spend some time and actually, kind of examine your heart and just spend time in silence and try to let God enter into your heart, even though it's a challenge at times. But um, and then whenever they say we have seen incredible things today, whatever you come up with, that is good. Today, let it stick and carry on to tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and constantly pursue um, the truth and peace that we all want. So there we go. What are you thinking in your hearts? Have a great day. God bless. Keep it real. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.